Hello and welcome to the Witch Source. I am Whitney and I'm here with Phoenix Rose.
Hi.
And Sister Courtney is not joining us tonight. She had some stuff come up and that's okay. She said roll on without her, so we are. And so we are continuing in our Clair series, and tonight we're actually going to mix up 3 into this one episode. And we will be talking about Clairgustance, Clairalience, and Clairempathy. So this should be fun. Hopefully you guys learned something new.
So that's tasting shit, smelling shit, and feeling shit.
There you go. That is it in a nutshell. All right, so clairgustance is the psychic ability to receive information through taste, and clairalience is the psychic ability to receive information through smell. And really, this one is mostly used when interacting with spirits and during mediumship readings, is when you're probably going to see these come up the most. So I don't feel like they're too overly common. I don't think they're really talked about a whole lot either.
No, probably not. No, it's not really, it's not common, I guess, really. It's just something that happens every now and again.
Yeah, and probably some people, like they'll smell something or they'll taste something, but they don't ever make an association of, maybe something's trying to talk to me.
Right?
Maybe this is a message. Maybe this is a sign of some sort. And they probably didn't even realize that they're actual clairs. So maybe they're something new here for someone. But I do like to throw in the magical side of it, being we are the witch source. You can actually use these when you're doing your spell crafting. So you might, if you're working on a spell or trying to craft something, you might, if you're working with a deity or, a god or a goddess, they might gift you with certain scents or tastes to give you an idea of what they would like for you to use when working with them. So you might smell a certain herb, a certain incense, a certain oil, or taste a certain herb. And that can be a clue as to, okay, yeah, that's what I need for this particular spell. Or maybe that's a certain scent that a deity would prefer you to use when you're working with them. So you can take that and, pay attention when you're doing your spell crafting or working with your god or goddess or goddesses.
Right? That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and just see if they'll tell you, and if you don't, if it's not happened to you, if that's never happened to you, you can always ask, sit with them, however you commune with your deity of choice, and just say, is there a certain herb or incense or oil that, you would like for me to use when working with you, and see what comes up. You might be
Right.
pleasantly surprised.
Or give me a smell or a taste to let me know when you're around.
Exactly. So once you can, get that association, then when you need them, you know that they're there because you'll pick up on that scent. So that's just taking it a step further into the magical realm. So something to think about.
Right.
So if we're talking about like experiences maybe that people have had, Rose, do you have any that you want to share as far as experiences with taste or smell? I know, like for me, I know when my mother's father is around, so my papa, when he's around, I will smell pipe tobacco because he always smoked cherry tobacco in his pipe. So if I smell cherry tobacco, pipe, smoke, I know that that's my papa. He's around, he's hanging out. Um, that's probably one of the biggest ones I think I've ever really had as far as, having a spirit come around and hang out and give me any kind of scent or smell.
Okay. So, we're doing smell. Sorry.
Either one, either one.
Let's see. Um, my dad used to smoke a type of tobacco that I've smelled off and on. Um, Another one, strangely, I was smelling a smell and it was like, that is so Bengay. It's like, why does that smell like Bengay? You know, that muscle rub stuff. So I was
Yeah.
like, why do I keep smelling that?
Did you find out who it's associated with or what it was?
No, uh-uh.
So just something or someone's around you and you're sensing it, you're smelling it.
I'm smelling Bengay.
I wonder, did you have a family member that used it or like a grandfather or
I have no idea.
just one that shows up?
Yeah, didn't really know my family that much.
Okay, yeah. Well, then that would make sense. I know sometimes people will smell perfumes. That's a common one. Like if your mother or grandmother had a certain perfume, you may smell that, and that's to let you know that they're near you or with you. Interestingly enough, though, sometimes you'll smell like smoke or fire. You can smell like something's burning, but then there's nothing burning, right? Like you can't find a source for it, and a lot of times that can be a message, you know.
Oh,
Um, and electrical.
throwing that one out there, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it came up. Do you want to share?
Oh, my blob in my closet.
Yeah.
Well, that was a smell that went with that. The I have a blob in my closet that doesn't want to talk and it doesn't want to communicate, and that was one of the things that it presented with. It was like an electrical smell.
Yeah. So, I
Strange.
mean, and there are some strange ones. And of course, then you've got some like, um,
So what went with the whole example? Was there more to it?
with the electrical.
Yeah. Was there like,
If
if
you,
you smell this, it could be this?
well, okay. So obviously, first off, if you're smelling anything like smoke or fire or electrical, you want to make sure there's no source for it, right? Like there's not some obvious thing going on, like,
Yes, check
you
did
know,
that.
right. Like, okay, well, there's no issues, nothing's on fire, there's nothing electrical burning somewhere. And once you've ruled that out, and now you're looking at the metaphysical side of things and possibilities, um, it could be a number of things. So, you know, having these clairs, you really want to pull in your other, psychic senses to figure out, okay, was there something here before that burned?
Right. Could
Was
it be
there a house?
residual?
Right, exactly, the
Yeah.
residual. So it could be something that was there before that had burned down. There could be some kind of a history with the land. There could be something with, electrical that went wrong in the past in the house, maybe where you're at. And yeah, so it's totally possible that some of that stuff is residual, and it's just lingering. Sometimes like if you move into a new home and there's this odd scents throughout the home, it doesn't mean anything to you, but you keep smelling them maybe in the same places, maybe at different times or the same time. It could be residual energy, or it could just be you got a haunting.
And that's where it hangs out.
And that's where it sings out, and you're smelling it when it's around. And that's just one of your clairs that you're able to pick up and sense that, okay, there's something here, there's something going on.
Right.
So,
No, this
um,
smell definitely came from this entity. It had an electrical outline and everything.
yeah, yeah. Which we still have to figure out more about what's going on with that, but I'm gonna play detective here, figure out
What
what's
is
going
it?
on.
What is it?
Um, some people will get a metallic taste in their mouth, and that can be a sign. And really, all of these can mean so many different things, right? I mean, there's a wide variety of possibilities, and I know one of the most common ones that you'll hear about is sulfur, right? That smell of sulfur,
Mm-hmm.
typically associated with some kind of evil entity or demon.
Of course, why not?
So it's
Brimstone and all that good stuff.
right, right. So that's something to be aware of. If you're smelling that, you might want to, you know,
Play with your
try
demons a
to
little.
yeah, yeah. Figure out like, okay, what's going on? Who's here? How did you get here? Why are you here? What do I need to do? Or are you just in the wrong place? Right? Because you could be out somewhere and come across these scents and smells and tastes of stuff, and they're not right. Like, okay, maybe I don't need to be here, based on what you're picking up. So doesn't necessarily have to apply to something trying to communicate with you, and it doesn't necessarily have to apply to just you personally or in your home or space. I mean, you can pick up stuff, out and about. I mean, you think about, I haven't really been on too many like of the haunted tours and stuff, but I'm sure that these really haunted places and these tours, people that are highly psychic and have their clairs turned on, especially these, they are probably picking up on all kinds of weird scents and smells and tastes, and it can be overwhelming if these clairs are turned on for them. You
Right.
might not like what you find. You might be like, wow, this place is gross. Let me get out of here as fast as I can.
Right. Like one day we were out for a drive and I come across a house and I was like overwhelmed with everything. And I just start rattling things off, blah, 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 this, and this. And then like, crap. A year later, I was watching some haunted program and they went to the house and they're like, oh, this happened. And I'm like, aha, I was right.
Really?
Yeah, it was the S.K. Pierce house.
Really?
It's here
Okay.
in Gardner and in Gardner. I don't know what I don't want to call it Toy Town because that's Washington. But yeah, here in Gardner, Massachusetts, there's the S.K. Pierce house. I believe I'm saying it right. And we were driving around in Gardner one day and he took me down to the road and all of a sudden this big giant house was in front of me and I was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god." And I just started getting hit with stuff and I'm like, there's a little boy up there. He goes between that window, that window. There was witchcraft, really bad dark witchcraft in the basement. There's a mean lady and stuff like this that's also in the house. And I don't quite remember exactly what it was said, but and then of course the empath kicked in and I got the feelings that were connected to the property and we're
Right.
driving away and it was like, okay. And then, yeah, I was watching a haunted program and I looked it up and it went a little deeper into like what, because people have gone and investigated the house. And they're like,
Okay.
there's a little boy upstairs. He's been seen between this window and this window. They had some haunted tours and they found people in the basement with a Ouija board and like pentagrams trying to call forth stuff. So
Oh,
I was like, oh my
wow.
God, I was right.
That's nice to get that validation, though. That's cool
Right.
to have no idea and then find out
Absolutely
you were right about it all.
right, had no clue about that mansion at all. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, that's the house.
That is cool. That is super, super neat. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's fun.
Can
I think
definitely
it'd be
pick
so cool to be able to experience something like that and like have that, that booster
right.
of like, oh yeah, I was right.
And
It's
then
awesome.
like right, yeah, that was pretty neat. I was like, I told my man about it and I was like, oh, I watched this program. I was so right.
That's awesome. So they do say that the taste is a little more rare than the smell. So I think you can get the smells a lot more frequently. And that's been my experience as well. I pick up on smells a lot more than I do taste, but taste is also there. And that can be associated, again, going back to working with spirits. And I think mediums use it probably a lot more as well, too. So, for example, if you're working with and doing like some mediumship work with a loved one and they were a smoker, you will smell and even maybe taste the cigarette. I know after my uncle passed and he came through to talk to my mom, he wanted a cigarette so bad. And he smoked from like 12 years old until he died in his 60s. So, and he was like a chain smoker, literally one right after the other. And when he came through, the craving that filled me for a cigarette was so overwhelming. It was so strong that like he wanted me to go get up while he's talking to my mother and go smoke this cigarette for him. Um, so I don't know if he could have enjoyed that through me or not. I don't know, but he wanted one so bad. But I could smell it, I could taste it, I could like feel it,
He was gonna
have it between your fingers, and So
He wanted to jump your ass and enjoy that cigarette.
yes, he probably did. He was probably like, I need a cigarette. Can we go smoke while we do this? So I kind
You
of
can,
regret that I didn't, go do that and just give him that moment of, okay, enjoy the cigarette, but there again, I knew it was him, I knew it was a family member. I wasn't like worried about, okay, who's this strange entity talking to me coming through that wants to, you know, I don't know
wants
you
me
and
to
I'm
go
not doing
smoke
that with you.
cigarettes.
Right, right. I don't know well enough to go smoke a cigarette for you. No, no. Um, but no, I did kind of regret not giving him that. So if you're not familiar with these or you're interested in trying to develop some of these or open up more to these particular clairs, there are a few things that you can try. So I would go back and start with any kind of scents or smells from your childhood. And what you want to do is look at those and match them to what memories they bring up and what kind of emotions they bring up. And that will start to build a database for which spirit can use to communicate with you and give you signs and talk to you, or maybe even give you some kind of warnings if necessary, right? Your spirit guides can even then use this database to communicate with you. So, are there scents or smells that when you were a kid that you would associate with maybe being in danger? Maybe scents or smells associated with being comforted. Um, and just any ones that you can think of, because I know sometimes we run across different smells or different tastes, and we have that childhood memory attached to it, and sometimes that memory is linked to a range of emotions, joy, fear, anxiety, happiness, love. So but you can start to just first become aware of and pay attention to um, what those associations are. And just bringing that back to the forefront of your mind when you're working on developing these clairs and your psychic abilities, it just lets the universe, it lets your spirit team know that this is something that you're open to and that you kind of want to play around with some more. So that's a way to, just start like, what would it what would it mean? What would some of these mean for you? And same thing with taste, right? So, like if there was a favorite meal that a loved one used to make, and what kind of feelings did that bring for you? Um, and what kind of people, were around, maybe when you had certain gatherings or had certain meals, things like that. And just building that database and saying, okay, I've brought this back to my mind. Here it is, it's available for use. And then you can also ask for signs and start paying attention, of course. So once you start with diving into what are these past memories, what are these connections, these triggers, these signals that you maybe already have within you, then ask your team, your spirit guides, to work with you on helping develop them. So then you have to pay attention because if you're starting to get weird sense or taste, you can't just dismiss it. It's them doing what you asked, trying
Right.
to work with you. Um, let's see. So, okay, and as you're doing that and you develop kind of that database, then you can also like start to use it on picking up information. So this is kind of a weird, fun little thing to think about. But like, does anger have a certain taste or smell for you? And again,
Ah.
baby step it, right? But once you get to this level, like, does anger have a certain taste or smell? Does somebody being deceitful or dishonest maybe have a certain taste or smell? Is somebody who truly loves you or has, your best interests at heart, would that have a certain taste or smell? Because then you can use those particular clairs when you're interacting with other people to be able to pick up on through, again, working with your spirit team and using the clairs to know this person's lying or this person's hiding something or this person is being truthful. What could you associate with being a scent or a taste of honesty, sincerity? So just some things to try. Um, and then we also talk about as far as smells go, like you can say, like sometimes you can smell an attraction that people have for each other, right? Like, but then you get kind of into like the pheromones and stuff. But it's a heightened sense of smell, like that's there. Um, people. Oh, and this was one I wanted to mention. Um, like if somebody really, really dislikes you and they really hate you, and they really want you dead, when you're around them, you might taste dirt in your mouth.
Right.
But you don't know if you don't pay attention, right? Like you got to start paying attention and, or that metallic taste in your mouth. If somebody's really angry at you, you might get that metallic taste in your mouth when you're talking to somebody. Like, they just kind of give you that, that
Ah,
sourness, that like jealousy. I could see jealousy kind of being like leaving a sour taste in your mouth.
right.
Um, so just some fun things to try and see what happens when you're out interacting and maybe work on building some of this up. So, and then some other things like medical intuitives, for example, they can smell sickness on people, kind of like animals.
I
How
was
they
just
can...
gonna say something, but yeah, you got it. Just like animals.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say so they've got a dog's nose.
Right, right. Like, yeah, because I mean, they do. They can smell, and they're using their clair to be able to smell that there is an illness, whether that be infection or a cancer, and death has its own smell as well. Death has, if you've ever experienced it, and I have, unfortunately, but death has its own smell, and you can smell death on people when they are close to dying. So, so it's just some
No, you
interesting thing to think about and know that it is one of the, your clair kicking in, and it is a gift. And the more you work with it, the more you are open to it, the more you interact with it, the stronger it becomes. And
exactly
it can potentially be very beneficial.
right. It's one of them underestimated clairs.
I definitely think so. Yeah. I mean, if you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time and you're getting bombarded with scents and smells saying, leave, don't be here, or get away from these people. I mean, if your clairaudience isn't turned on, if your clairvoyance isn't turned on, if you're not getting the messages and that's the only way your team has to get to you, that you need to get the heck out of wherever you're at, you want to know so you can pay attention.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it can be very useful, but there's just not a whole lot to go into on those. So that's why we kind of lumped them together. Um, but Rose, did you have anything you wanted to add on those?
No,
Before?
like I say, it's another one of those underestimated ones that we don't really pay attention to or think about or even think it's important. I mean, it's just
Right,
smelling and tasting. Like it's
right,
not pictures and hearing and feeling.
right. It's not the big ones everybody wants.
Right? But these little ones seem actually really cool,
They
especially
are
when
really
you
cool.
explain it like that.
I think they're pretty cool, and it's especially if you know if you want to develop your gifts further and take it to a point of doing some kind of psychic reading or mediumship type stuff. Those are actually very, very useful um, in those settings, because a lot of times that's going to be one of the ways that you're going to get validation, from whoever the person is that you're trying to get a message through. If you say, "Oh, I'm smelling Chanel number 5," and this person's loved one only wore Chanel number 5, and there's no way you could have known that,
Right.
they're
Well,
going to
it's
give that to you.
right. And it's like me with doing that one reading when I was smelling lilacs outside the window. And
Yeah,
there was a lilac bush outside the window. Or was it? Yeah, it was lilacs.
exactly, exactly. So it was just an extra thing that you were able to add to the experience, but also extra validation for you. They were able to confirm that. And
Right.
so certain things like that. Like they can be useful. I think I wanted to talk on them, of course, and touch on them, and at least bring it to people's attention so they can either say, hey, yeah, I actually do have that. I do have some experience with that, or, you know, at least think about it so that they can use it as they continue to develop and they're not
Right.
surprised by it later. Like, now they know it's a thing.
Or if they've had an experience here and there, to try and develop it further.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, you guys, we are going to move on to Clairempathy.
Uh-oh.
This is a big one. Um, it's a fun one. Okay, so I wanted to start off by first off, what is the difference between sympathy, empathy, and then clairempathy? So, first off, sympathy, because a lot of people can have, I mean, and you've got people out there that are just kind of dead to all their emotions and they just don't care about anything. They don't have
Right.
any empathy. They don't have any sympathy. They ain't got nothing going on. But sympathy is something a lot of people can have. And sympathy is having an understanding from your own perspective of another person's emotions. So it's being able to say, like,
Oh, my dog died. And you go, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know how that feels.
exactly, exactly. So it's just being able to say, yeah, I get it. But it's more of I understand the mental side of it. So the difference then with empathy is that empathy is the ability to understand, but also share in those feelings.
Ah, see, I jumped ahead.
No, no. So no, you're exactly right. Sympathy would be like, somebody saying my dog died and oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and understanding why they're upset. But somebody with empathy, that would be perfect sympathy. But somebody with empathy would be crying with you. So it would be, oh my gosh, your dog died and all of a sudden you're sharing in on those same feelings and you're crying too. So it's not just I understand, I'm so sorry, I feel bad that your dog died. It's I'm hurting with you. Um, so it takes it to a deeper level. So it's not just having the understanding, but it's actually feeling the feelings as well. And that is what the empathy piece is. So sympathy is just understanding it. Empathy is feeling it as well. So, and actually like really being concerned and caring and having the emotion there as well for that person.
Not
Okay.
just going through the motions.
Right, right. So then we have clairempathy. So clairempathy takes it a whole nother level past sympathy and empathy. So the definition I have for clairempathy is the psychic ability of experiencing someone's emotions and energy physically within their body. And so that's the difference. It's like you're not just having the empathy, like feeling the sadness with them. You are really truly deeply feeling the sadness with them. And that is the difference between just having empathy and the clairempathy. It's
Also
truly touching
known
you on
as
a deep
being a,
level.
sorry, I'm just butting in there. I was going to
No,
say also known as being an empath.
right. Yes. So if you're an empath, you are using your clairempathy ability. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for adding that in.
Well,
Um,
I was like, I'm like, okay, the Claire empathy. I was like, okay, well, that sounds just like being an empath. I was like, okay,
mhm,
so that's like the technical term to being an
right.
empath.
Right. And that's what we hear a lot anymore is I'm an empath, but it is actually a clair.
Right.
So and that's what you're tapping into, that's what empaths are tapping into is that psychic side of it, that psychic ability of of being able to receive and feel and take on all of that energy and that emotion within. So, and there are people out there that can have empathy for people, but not on a Claire empathy level. So they're
Right.
not a full-on empath. They can have empathy and they can feel bad for you, and feel bad with you, but they're not going to the level of an empath that they're experiencing so much within their own being as well.
Right.
So Clairempathy is a receptive clair because you are receiving the information or the energy from the other person. But this can also be used projectively in magic.
Oh.
So again, sticking with the magical side of things, you can use this Clairempathy ability to send energy out, and onto a person. So while typically an empath is going to be using this in a manner of purely receptive, and technically speaking, it is a receptive clair, you can reverse it and use it projectively in magic. So,
Oh. That's
right?
interesting.
It is. So you would essentially be like pushing feelings, thoughts, or emotions onto other people.
I
Is how
gotta
that would
try
work.
that. It's
So
like they push them on me.
that's how you would use it magically. A lot of your persuasion spells would use that.
And glamour spells and
Glamour, persuasion, manipulative spells. Like if you're trying to get something to go your way, if you're trying to, yeah, influence things. Yep. So, but that would be this particular type of clair that you are using. And it's also helpful if you need to, say, tap into an energy. So let's say you want to call in a certain energy to be able to use for spell work. So we would be back to the receptive side of it, of course, but you would be calling in using Clairempathy the energy that you want to then use within your spell work.
that makes sense.
So, being we are the witch source, we're not just covering the psychic
Was
side; we are covering the magical side.
I was just gonna say that we are the witch source after all, so we do magic.
It is the
If
magic that we
that's
are all
what we're
about.
about, that's us.
Yeah. Ta-da! All
Yes, we
right.
do
So,
stir the cauldrons.
yeah, yes, we do. So, just to give a final example, in case anybody's still kind of like, what? I don't get it. So, we'll look at grief as an example, right? A lot of people have some sort of experience with grief, okay? So, if we're looking at somebody who's grieving, somebody who has sympathy for someone who's grieving would say, oh, they just lost so and so, that's why they're upset. And I understand. No emotion. That's the sympathy. Empathy is you feel so bad for that person because you know what it feels like to lose somebody. Okay.
Right, that you feel it.
Right. And then the Clairempathy takes that a step further, that you physically feel your heart breaking with theirs.
Right. I was gonna say the empathy is more like from your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and the Clairempathy is actually you're feeling them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that's the biggest difference between the empathy and the Clairempathy, is that you actually are taking that on, you are feeling that heartbreak, and you are crying with them in their grief. Um, and yes, you're right. That is the biggest difference. So again, a lot of people can have sympathy, a lot of people can have empathy, but then those who are empaths and use that Clairempathy, it really, really is super, super strong emotions that end up being received.
And it really takes a lot of practice to start discovering if you really are truly an empath or if
Mm-hmm.
you're just you have empathy for people,
Right.
and learning how to decipher between, is this my emotions or is this somebody else's emotions? That's the
And
hardest thing.
absolutely, that is the hardest part.
And I find that very difficult for myself there in the beginning, especially. But I've gotten to a point where it's like, nope, that's not my feelings. Like, this ain't mine. Go ahead. You do what you do, but I know this ain't mine.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes a lot of time actually to learn the difference. And um, it takes practice. It really does take practice. So there are multiple levels to the clear empathy. Okay. So depending on what level you are, it's going to be harder or easier for you to learn to differentiate between your energy and another person's energy. So, like a surface level empath, okay, can pick up on anxiety, fear, joy, sadness, happiness, depression, and they pick this up based on who they are around, right? So, if they're in close proximity to somebody, they can pick up and start feeling those emotions. But that's the key. They have to be around people. So, while yes, it can be hard, that's very much like the beginning levels of having that clear empathy and being an empath. Is that yes, you are picking up on the emotions and the energy of who and what's around you, right? Now, this can go to a deeper level of once you have built connections with people, then it goes a further distance, right? You don't have to be necessarily in a room with somebody to pick up on what's going on with them. There, then it can be you have a connection with someone. So, when something's off with them, you feel it before you even know it. And a lot of times you see this like with mothers and their children, how mothers
Yeah.
will just have that feeling, that knowing of, oh my gosh, something's not right, something's off with my kid. And you start to feel that panic and that anxiety. And then come to find out they were in that moment experiencing that fear or anxiety.
So that
Um,
would almost be like an empathic connection.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's a great way to look at it. It's those connections you make. And a lot of times you'll see that with, spouses, partners, soulmates, um, sometimes even, like best friends that have those really tight bonds. They'll make those empathic connections. And again, but it's just with that one person, right? So there's different levels. Like you might just be connected to that person and feel what that one person's feeling, but be standing next to somebody in a grocery store and have no idea what's going on with them
Exactly. Yeah.
because you're not picking up on it because it doesn't really matter. That's why there's different levels and layers to being an empath and figuring out which ones you have and which level you're at and which level do you want to be at, you
I'm
know?
climbing all of them.
Because some of them are very overwhelming. So, you know, again, there's those that pick up, they have to be around a person to be able to pick up anything. Then you have those connections where you're connected with them. Then you have a step further where there's almost like this the collective conscious, I guess, is the key phrase for this right now, where you are collectively picking up energies from anywhere and everywhere, and you're feeling like what is going on a high level. What are the highest levels of energy being projected by people right now, and you're picking up on it and you're feeling it as well. So
Okay, now a question,
yeah.
because you're talking about all of these different levels of empathy and being an empath and everything. Now, what would you consider what you and I are able to do? Because you sit and you do a
Okay.
card reading and you pick up on somebody's energy, you connect to them. Now,
Hmm.
what would that be? Would that
I would
fall under this?
um yeah, I think so. I think it could kind of fall under.
Because in a sense, you're tapping into the collective energies. You're just going, you're not near the person,
Right.
you're not connected to the person.
Right.
So you're tapping into the collective energies of the world and singling out that single person.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. To make that momentary connection. Yeah.
right? Because you pick up on their feelings, you pick up on certain things with them. I mean, I do
Mhm.
too, but just like in
Right.
general, like that's what you do when you're
Right.
doing readings and stuff, especially if you can't be with that person.
Exactly. So that at that point, it has nothing to do with the proximity in the room, because there are people that can only pick up on the energies of those who are around them. And, sometimes that within itself can be very overwhelming. But then the more that this clear empathy is developed, yes, you can start to branch out and reach it, and it expands further to, yes, like you're saying, like if I'm doing a reading for somebody, I do find them out in the world, in the collective. I tap into their energy and I'm feeling what they're feeling. And that's where then the other gifts also then come into play, and the psychic intuitive pieces start to come in, and the clairaudience kicks up, and the clairvoyance kicks up, and the messages start coming through and flowing. But yes, it does start with making that empathic connection, um, through this clear empathy. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't, it just clicked. It's almost like that little piece just like popped into place. I was like, oh, but that is a sign, a part of that too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up, actually. That was a very good question. And then there are people that literally just pick up on the energies of the collective. So, like, if there's a lot of grief in the world at the moment, you guys think about, going through COVID, all that fear, all the anxiety, all the lockdown, all the depression that was so overwhelming for so many people. And, people that have this clear empathy, and especially those that don't fully understand it, were probably getting super overwhelmed with all this emotion and energy, even if
Not
they
even,
personally.
I was going to say, and not even realize why they're feeling this way.
Exactly, because maybe they weren't personally in fear, maybe they weren't personally in anxiety, like maybe they were safe in their home and they're like, you know what, nope, I'm good. But they were still getting constantly, bombarded with these feelings of the fear and the anxiety and the depression that was sinking in from, being on the lockdown and not being able to make connections and see people. And that is a form of the clear empathy on that conscious collective level, because it's just so overwhelming and it was affecting you, that person, um, on such a deep, deep level, to the point that anxiety, panic attacks, and, just being, feeling confused or frozen with fear, or, feeling afraid of the unknown. And so it's possible that, yeah, tapping into that energy and not even realizing it, how much it was affecting your life and your body and your person and your energy. And it wasn't really even your own.
Right.
It was all the other people's energies out in the world, that were just so turned up on high that it was just flooding in. So definitely that happens. Um,
That sounds awful.
yes, I think it really is awful, and it can be awful, especially if somebody does not know or understand it, or how to cope or change it or deal with it. So, and then you look at things like, I know we talked, on the last episode, we were talking about, claircognizance and that knowing. And we touched a little bit on, you know, precognition and premonitions. But I found when I was doing more research for this particular episode for the Claire empathy, that your people can really tap into this Claire empathy on the collective conscious, when you have things going on and people start to get premonitions about big things that are going to happen. So, an example being, like when the 9/11 attacks, on the World Trade Center. Um, people, I remember people talking about the nightmares that they were having and the fear and the anxiety they were having, and, these premonitions of these feelings of something terrible is coming, something terrible is about to happen. And it had not happened yet. But it was like a collective conscious premonition of, all this heightened emotional energy, that was to come that everybody was picking up on. And I don't know how much of that we had, you know, necessarily like premonitions on this go around, like with COVID, for example. I don't think it was so much anybody got the premonition so much with this, but just being in it as it was happening. So, but it was just a little side note that I found interesting. Like it is that Clairempathy that kind of ties into that piece of on a global conscious collective level when it comes to those big premonitions where people all over the world, are having these similar experiences before something ever even happens.
Right.
Um, and typically, it happens more and more and more the closer that you get to the event. You'll see more people start popping up saying, something's off, something's not right, something's coming. And they're not wrong. They're using their clairs. They're picking up on this energy that's coming. They just don't always know what it is or what to do with it. So just wanted to mention that. And the other thing I wanted to mention that I did not mention on last week's episode on sorry.
No one shit.
Yes, claircognizance, thank you, was post-cognition, which is post-cognition is learning and knowing something that has happened in the past that you have no way of knowing that it happened. So that was one that I would have liked to have tacked on to the end of the last podcast episode on claircognizance. If you guys missed it, go check it out. And just remember this one was supposed to be in here with the premonition and precognition, post-cognition. And that is what your psychic detectives use. So that is picking up on and knowing information about things that have already happened. And then they use that in that detective work. So that there's
Right.
another.
Now, in my psychic development class that I had taken, there was something that went along with that. It was like you read somebody's timeline, which I guess would fall into this.
Yeah.
Because then you could go back and like start from like age 6 or whatever to whatever age they are now and scan their life, their timeline for major events, whether it's traumas or happiness or whatever it is. And you could see those things. So that would go along with that ability.
Yeah, with that post-cognition, yeah, definitely. So you're claircognizance, that knowing, but you're putting it in reverse rather than in the future. So yeah. Okay, great. I'm glad we got to add that in.
Just a little snippet,
Just a little extra. Should have been added in the last one, but that's okay. We got it all together now. All right. So just as like a recap, right? So if you're trying to figure out, okay, what level of an empath am I? And where am I at with my clairempathy development? And again, where do you want to be with it? Because
right?
it's overwhelming.
Yes.
So a baseline empath, they're going to be able to sense the emotions and energy of people in a room. Okay. And so they're going to be able to kind of just know, sense, feel what's going on with other people. If you're a little bit deeper level with being an empath, you're going to be able to sense the emotions and the energy, but then you're also going to have a hard time dealing with it because you're going to start to physically feel it within your body. So if somebody is having a lot of anxiety around you, you're going to start feeling that anxiety within yourself. If somebody's very depressed, you might find yourself feeling very depressed. And so you've got to pay attention and how you start to figure out, okay, am I an empath? And is this clairempathy turned up maybe too high on me? Is if you are having a perfectly fine day, all is well, and you go to the grocery store and, whatever, you're leaving and you are drained or you're sad or you're depressed, your whole mood or your demeanor has just completely changed and shifted, you probably picked up somebody else's energy. and you need to let it go.
Right.
Because it's not yours. It's not meant for you. It's just the people that you interact with. I mean, you can tell. I mean, I can tell because I guess I've always been, an empath. So I don't know what it's like to not be an empath. I can always tell what's going on with somebody when I'm talking to them. I can always feel and sense and get a read off of their energy, like they're having a good day or they're having a bad day, or they're in a really bad mood, or they've got a lot of depression going on, or they're really sad about something, or they're super happy. Like, so I'm not sure, you know, I don't know what it's like to not know how that is, but it
Oh,
did
it's
take me a
not
while.
fun.
It did take me a while to figure out like the difference between my energy and their energy. And I really had to start being very aware of how I felt after I went out and was around other people and the shifts.
Right.
Do you have any experiences you want to share, like some stuff like that happening with you?
Oh, um, I went the very first time I went to that class. We started the class off with meditation and so on and so forth, and a little talk. And while she's talking, I'm just like absolutely overwhelmed with this awful sadness. I have no idea where the sadness is coming from. It's not like it's my first time out in the world and, I'm a scared little puppy in the corner. It's like I didn't understand it. And
Right.
all through meditation, I was crying, like tears streaming down my face while I'm trying to meditate. And then after it was done, it was just overwhelming sadness. It was really hard to like lose it like that in front of like nine strangers.
Right.
And like, so I had no idea where this was coming from, what was going on. I mean, I've been an empath too, but never on this level to where I was just like knocked on my ass like this and
Right.
just not
Overwhelmed.
understanding where it was coming from, who it was coming from, what it was, why I was feeling it. I had to run to the bathroom. And even after going to the bathroom and coming out, I still couldn't pull it together. And they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I have no idea what's happening to me. I honestly, truly don't." And I was finally able to pull myself out of this space. And later on, I was sitting in front of a woman, and it just, that, because my jam, clicked on that knowing shit. And I was like, "It was you. I
Ah,
know it was you," because then I was seeing what the sadness was. I was seeing her sad. I was seeing what she experienced that day and what she's been experiencing leading up to that. And so it was like, oh, okay, it was you. Darn it. I got to get better at this.
so again, like that's a perfect example of how you completely shifted and it was overwhelming and you couldn't even figure out why. At first, like, why is this happening to me? What is going on? Like, because there was no reason for you to be that way.
Yeah.
So mentally, your brain is saying, this isn't right. I know this isn't right. This isn't me.
Yeah.
There's
I,
nothing wrong with me.
I so
You
knew
know,
it wasn't me. It was like, what? It's like, did I just walk into like the freaking port of hell here or something? Like, why, what, who, where, what, where? So I knew it wasn't me, but it, oh, to
but
finally,
thankfully, you were able to figure out who and what it was coming from. And, that way you could clear it, separate from it, release it, and be like, okay, you know what? That was all you. That didn't have anything to do with me. But the problem we run into are people out here that are turned on, you know, full blast, empaths with their clear empathy levels on high, and they go out into these settings and they start having these panic attacks and they start having these, you know, overwhelming feelings of all these people around them, and a part of them knows that's not right, like that some single part of their brain says there's nothing wrong with me. I have no reason to feel like this. But it can be so overwhelming to the point that that part of the brain just eventually shuts off and stops fighting. stops trying to talk you out of it, and you just become so overwhelmed, and but at the end of the day, it's still not your energy. You were just so, like, the people out here that are experiencing this, your energy is so wide open, and you're allowing your empathy to just be so raw that you're picking up everybody's stuff and you're taking it all on, and you don't even know that you're doing it. And so that's the problem that I see, I think, the most with this particular Claire, and people who don't understand it and don't know how to use it. It can be very debilitating. And this is when people start to don't go out in public. They don't go socialize. They don't go to crowds. They don't go to the grocery store. They don't do anything because the energy is so overwhelming.
You're singing my song.
Right. Like, and the sad thing is, if people can learn more about this particular Claire and how to work with it, they can go back to functioning out in society and not need all the anxiety pills and antidepressants.
Oh, I'm not on meds. That's probably why. It's like, I'm just like, it's too peoply out there. But I'm getting better. I really am getting better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. But there are people that they go to the medications to cope, when really, now I would never tell anybody don't take your meds, okay? So please, disclaimer, I am not a doctor. Do not take that advice. But I am
You do
saying,
you.
I am saying, if you feel like you're an empath and this Clairempathy stuff is kind of starting to make sense to you, I would definitely encourage you to work on, and we will talk about it, how to protect yourself and how to clear these energies that are not yours, so that you can go out to the grocery store, or be around crowds, or be around family members, even at the holidays, and not be overwhelmed with all of these outside energies. And sometimes the effects of going out and picking up all these energies and not knowing what to do with them can be debilitating for days. I mean, you
Definitely.
can't get out of bed, you feel sick, you're tired, you're fatigued, you're in pain, and you have no idea why. You just took on everybody's shit. That's why.
Right?
It's not yours. And it's not like you taking on all that shit helped any of those people.
Right.
Okay, that's the thing that I think people also need to understand. All those people kept their shit. Okay, they're
Mm-hmm.
still dealing with all their shit. You just took a whole bunch of their baggage with you, but they still have their more baggage at home.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not like you lighten their load any.
exactly, exactly. So there's no need for some kind of martyr syndrome here. Well, if I took a little bit of their pain, then maybe they'll feel. No, no, no.
Nope, that's
Does
not
not
how
work.
that works.
It's not how that works at all.
Nope.
So you're not doing them any favors. All you're doing is hurting yourself, and then dimming yourself and pulling yourself so far down low vibrationally that you're dimming your light, and then you're really not helping anybody,
Right.
because we need to, you know, be who we are and full on our power and gifts, so that we can affect real change in our lives and the lives of those around us. And if you're taking on somebody's stuff that is not yours to take on, you're not really helping them or yourself, or getting anywhere in the long run. So that being said, if you are feeling like, and you're listening to this, that is me. That is me. I have a problem with taking on everybody's energy, that I don't even like to go to the grocery store. I go in the middle of the night when nobody's there, or
Right.
mid-morning when everybody's at work, so I can get in and out. Okay, here's what you can do. For one, own it, right?
Exactly. Definitely own it.
Own
If
it.
you be open, be like, yeah, no, I don't really like to do that. You'll sooner or later it won't be such a problem anymore.
Right.
But,
So first thing you got to do is own it. Now, So people who are empaths and have this clair, they're often considered super sensitive. You might be told you're so sensitive. You're too sensitive, okay? Um, but it is a gift, okay? And that's when I had to learn for myself. Yes, I am super sensitive, but you know what? It's who I am. It's a gift that I have, and I have now learned how to work with it and control it so that I can function and be who I am and still be sensitive, but not take on everybody's stuff that I don't need. And this is ongoing, you guys. You never like fully accomplish any of this. Like I can't say I'm a pro. I still have my moments where somebody's got something going on and I'm right there in the floor crying with you.
Right? I'm still trying to learn how to control it, and it's something I've had all of my life.
Right, right. So, but you can baby step. You can baby step. So, some things that you might be sensitive to and can help to start balancing out your energy and protect yourself. The people you are around. Okay, so if you can choose who you're around, be choosy until you can figure out what is your energy, what is your baseline, who are you within yourself, and who is somebody else. Because the hardest thing is to figure out what's your energy level, what's
Right?
your
So,
baseline.
like when you go around somebody, how does this person feel? Like when this
Exactly.
person was coming near me, how did they feel? And you start to pick that up more, and it'll help you recognize it.
Right, right, exactly. So, and also, as you guys know, I am all about the meditation and the spending time with yourself. And that is because it lets you know what your energy is versus everybody else's energy. It also lets you know what is, grounded energy feel like? What does connected energy feel like? What does divine energy feel like, right? So you can start to understand what the different feelings are so that when you start to encounter other people's energies, you can immediately say, yep, nope, that's not mine, and I am not taking it on. So, but you got to know who you are and you got to know what your energy is. So start inward, of course, first is what I always say.
Right?
So, other things that you might be sensitive to and you need to pay attention to how it affects your energy can be TV, music, movies. If you know you react strongly to movies and TV, then you need to be censoring what you're exposing yourself to
Oh,
because you're
no, come on.
immediately taking on energy that if you don't know how to just set it down at the end of the night and walk away, like, oh, okay, that was a cool movie and be done, you can carry that energy with you for days.
No, you can.
And that is totally why I do not watch horror films.
Oh, it
I
doesn't
don't.
matter what I'm watching. Hmm. It's like, shut up, mom's crying. It's like, why are you crying? I don't know. I just feel the feelings.
Right.
I mean,
So
and really, it
again,
doesn't matter what I'm watching. It's so funny.
it's what energies do you want to expose yourself to? I don't watch horror films because that creepy crawly feeling that tingles up the back of your neck,
Love
you
it.
know, oh, I
Oh,
hate it. I can't do it. And it lingers for days. I can't do it.
I hate to go off subject, but you know
Okay.
how I've been talking to you about, like, I want to see stuff. And well,
Mm-hmm.
since we're doing the clairs, I want to see stuff. Why aren't I
Mm-hmm.
seeing things? So today I was picking up downstairs and I was doing something. My youngest was on the couch, and my oldest, she was supposed to be in her room. So I'm facing away from where she, like sideways from where she's standing. And I'm like, do, 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 do. And I look up and I see something out of the corner of my eye. And I look over and I let out a giant scream. It scared the ever loving shit out of me. So I jump and scream, and she freaking almost spills her juice cup all over the place. And what came to mind was, and this is why I don't get to see shit, because I react like that.
Ah, there you go. You got a message out of it though, huh?
Right? It's like, and this is why I don't get to see shit, because I react like that. No matter how badly I want it, this is how I react, and they're not going to give it to me.
See, so it's blocking you. It's blocking you.
It's like, but I like that scare. Come on, give it to me.
I do not like the scare. I don't. So I know my energy is sensitive, so I stay away from stuff that I feel like is going to affect me.
You're
So
all light and I'm all shadow.
till you get jumped and you're like, yeah.
I would love it. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it again.
Oh, another thing, you guys, that empaths and that have their clairempathy turned on is you can feel the energy in a room, especially lingering energy or residual energy. So it's like you can walk into a space and you can feel like an argument was taking place there.
Oh, yes, yes.
Hmm. And so if you don't know, you might all of a sudden feel like you want to argue with somebody because you're picking up that energy.
Right. You just
And
walked
then,
into a room that
where it
some,
just needs to be cleared. Yep. So interesting little, didn't want to forget to add that one.
oh, that was like my camper. He was like, it's
Yes.
not that it's bad. It's just, it's residual. It just needs to be cleared out of here. It's like, oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Yep. I picked up on that. Some other things you might be sensitive to are the weather or the seasons. It's another sign you might have some of the empathy, clairempathy turned on. And so another thing is, and I think I might have already mentioned this, that like you can get drained after being in crowds. You can actually start to feel physically sick, even though you have no fever, you feeling like you have the flu, but you don't have the flu, you don't have a fever, but you feel like you're getting sick. And that's from taking on all that energy and not clearing it out of you. Um, so, that's something else to pay attention to. Um, so, okay, what do you do? Let's just get into it. What do you do? Well, for one, you want to shield yourself and you want to protect yourself and you want to protect your energy so that you're not picking up and taking on all this stuff that's not yours. So I know on the podcast and on our YouTube channel, I have the Pentacle of Protection meditation that you guys can try. Work with it. And if you work with it enough, it becomes like second nature. You can put this little shield of protection up around you, and it takes almost no time, right? Like if you just practice, get a system down, anytime you feel like you need to shield, you can throw that pinnacle of protection up and shield yourself, shield your energy. Nothing is getting through. Okay, you're not going to be taking on people's energy. And if somebody's trying to, the good thing about this one is if somebody's trying to be an energy vampire, they're not going to take energy from you. But then also people can't be sending you negative energy because again, you're protected. But also when you're inside this pinnacle of protection, you guys can go find it. That's what it's called. Um, you're safe. So you're not going to be out there in a crowd or going to the grocery store or going to do whatever it is that you need to do. You don't have to worry about, am I going to pick up on something and have a panic attack or, you know, get depressed or, get overwhelmed or, you know, feel sick in bed for a few days because you took on way too much.
Right.
So protecting your energy, protecting, your aura and your space. So you can do the pinnacle of protection. You can also wear protective crystals and stones and work with those and set the intention and ask them to work with you to protect your energy and your aura from taking on other people's energies. Okay, and I know this sounds like we're asking you to dampen your clairempathy ability, but honestly, you've got to know how to work with it.
Right.
And if
That's
you
not
can't
something
turn
you
it
want to
down,
have turned on all the time. It's really not a nice thing to have constantly with you. I mean, it's
exactly.
nice to know yourself.
Exactly. And so once you learn your energy and you learn more about this clair and how to work with it, then you can consciously choose when to use this ability and when not to. But you've got to learn to protect yourself first. So putting up that energetic barrier with the pinnacle of protection, any of your protection stones, your black stones are going to be your protective stones. So, you've got obsidian, your black tourmaline, um,
Tiger's
help me remember,
eye.
tiger's eye, hematite, Jet is a great one. Trying to think. Uh, Onyx is a great one. I love Onyx. I wore that one today when I went to the hospital. Um, so, when you know you're going places, put your protective stones on. And there is on the podcast and again on our YouTube channel how to work with crystals. So if you're not sure how to work with crystals, you can go check out those episodes. And we talk about how to choose your crystals, clean and cleanse your crystals, and program them and work with them and ask them to help you, protect your energy when you're going out and about. Okay. So another thing that you can do is just literally visualize, and it does take a little bit of practice, but visualize yourself in this white bubble of light protection where everything just bounces off the bubble. Just bounces off. Doesn't come through, doesn't hit you, doesn't affect you. It just kind of bounces off and goes back wherever it needs to.
Right. And if you can't visualize, and if you're not into meditation, and you can just tell yourself that you're protected.
Yes.
Attach a feeling to it, like this is the feeling of that I am protected. I am protected now. And that's another way that you can do that.
Yeah. And if you guys don't have any black stones or crystals, clear quartz is a great one. It's programmable, so you can ask it to do anything, and you can ask it to just put up that shield of protection around you. So that's always an option as well if you don't have any black stones. Clear quartz is a great one because you can ask it to do anything.
Right.
So you can ask it to shield you up, and it will definitely help. And then the last piece is, okay, you put up your protection, you went out, you got home, and you still feel kind of off because maybe something got through, right? And you just don't feel right. You're not yourself. You want to cleanse yourself of these energies. And you cannot over cleanse and clear your energy. Okay? It's not even possible to do that. Like, so that you can't overdose on being clean, okay? When it comes to doing this work.
Clean energy, that is.
Right. It really is. It's so important. Okay, so there's a few different things you can do. Of course, you can do the sage. And if you're going to do this, please, if you are getting home from somewhere and you're off, sage yourself before you go inside. Okay, so you can use a white sage bundle, sage yourself, and you just can chant and repeat in your mind, I clear and release all energies that do not belong to me and send them back to where they need to be.
It even rhymes.
Yes, it does.
Say it again. Say it again.
Oh boy. I'm not sure I can say it like I did. It just came out just right. I cleanse, clear, and release all energies that do not belong to me and send them back to where they need to be.
There you go.
So I think I did it right. I think I said it same twice.
All right, everybody. Rewind and re-listen.
Another option is, of course, our Clear and Protect spray, which you guys can get on the website, thewitchsource.com. It is a blend, and it does clear and protect. So it's great to use if you know you're going out in public and you want to put up that layer of protection. You can spray up before you go out, and then you can spray before you come back home. I do like to keep some in my car. So I keep the smaller size in my car for when I'm traveling. And then I keep a big one at home because I use it a lot. So that's two ways that you can just clear when you're going in and out. If you don't have access to anything, you can't buy the sage, you can't get the spray, whatever, that's fine. At least just envision yourself being flooded with this, whatever you believe, divine source light energy, just pouring all the way down you like a waterfall and just washing you clear and clean.
Or go have a shower and do the same thing.
Yes. So that was the next thing on the list. If you feel like it's just, it's not working, go take that shower.
Yep. And they say like you can scrub with rock salts and stuff like that if you want. But really just envision the shower just washing all the negativity down the drain and away from you.
Yeah, yeah. You can use the salt scrub like Rose said, or you can do a salt bath. And then you just let all of it rinse down the drain. You can also cleanse your aura and your chakras this way as well. So you just see the water from the shower, just coming down through your aura, through your chakra system, and just washing any and all negativity and energies that are not yours and clearing you, back to who you are and meant to be.
Right.
So hopefully that helps putting up that protection, and protecting yourself before you go out. I think you're going to have a little bit easier time, one, figuring out who and what your energy is versus other people.
The way you were looking at me is like very stern, like
I'm so sorry. I don't mean
I
it.
mean, I know you guys can't see her, but I can. And it's like it's almost like she's saying it right to me. It's like you need to protect yourself, put that protection up, do the
Well,
sage.
it's so, so important. It's so important to protect yourself and your energy. I mean, really, like if you're tired of feeling tired, if you're tired of dealing with anxiety, if you're tired of dealing with depression, if you're tired of
Well,
dealing with stuff that is not yours,
if there's any empaths watching this episode, they definitely felt how important that was right there.
yes, they did. They would be like, man, she is serious. I need to go get some cleansing done. I need to go get in the shower, get reset. And I'm going to be protecting myself from now on when I go out in the world.
Right.
It's so, so, so important. And that's a start in the right direction, right? If you guys want more tips, if you've got questions with, this Clairempathy and being an empath, if you want more information on what to do and how to deal, please reach out. Okay, you guys can please, please, please like, follow, and share us on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. We go live on Mondays. I do live card readings on Mondays on Facebook and YouTube. Then Rose and I do witchy talks on Friday nights with some card pulls. So great time to come in, ask questions. But the biggest resource, you guys, is
Oh, and then you get to see my empath at work because I haven't learned how to control that yet.
very true, very true.
It's like the first one I was really sad, and then the second one I was really mad.
She's just going through them all. She's just feeling it all. So you can get a taste of what it looks like to be an empath on a live. Wide open. But no, we do. We have fun. And honestly, if you want more information, you really have questions, you want some help, get in the Facebook group, The Witch Source Society, and post.
Right? Ask your
Post
questions.
Yeah. Ask the questions. Post your comments. We love to
And
hear from you. We want to help.
right? Definitely, always. I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to be
So,
like, you could even post anonymously or,
yeah.
message us directly if you don't want to post your questions. And
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally an option as well.
it's really
So
us. We really do respond to you and interact with you in the group. And
we are there. It is us. You can also send your questions. If there's a podcast episode you guys want to know or hear about, we are building up to do some listener question and answers and comments, and share your guys' stories. So if you want to, we would love to hear from you. You can send us emails at thewitchsource@gmail.com. So, and we do respond. I do get those and I respond. And, if you don't want to get in the group and ask a question, or if you're not on Facebook and you just want to reach out, you can always send us an email and I will get it and we will read it and we will respond. But we want to know what you guys want to know. So we're giving you what we got, and we're giving you our tips and tricks. There are plenty more, that is for sure, that we can't cover here. So if you have more questions, let us know. And again, join the group, you guys. It's a really great place to be. But if you are listening, wherever you are listening to this podcast, on, we would really appreciate it if you would leave us a great review and share and tell your friends. And don't forget, you can check out a lot of stuff on us. Actually, you can find about us, readings, the store, all of our links, videos, everything at thewitchsource.com. So that's the website. Check it out. And not only, you guys, do we have the Clear and Protect spray, we're about to expand on that. So excited. We are making a Clear, Protect, and Love spray to bring in more of that love energy. And then we're also doing a Clear, Protect, and Sleep spray.
I would like one of each, please.
Yes, right? So not only are you clearing yourself, you're protecting yourself, but you can do some dream work. Some people just need some sleep work. You can do some self-love work, or you can bring in that loving energy. So lots of cool stuff coming up, you guys. So stay tuned and keep checking back to the website.
I heard these were going to be in limited bunches, so, or limited batches. So I definitely.
It is. This is true. It is going to be a limited quantity. Maybe if they do really well, we'll bring them back. But right now, it's just a small batch. So.
Or like your traveling altar kits, those are limited.
Oh yeah, the traveling altar kits, you guys, are limited, and they are super cute. You should totally go check those out on the website. I love them. So, but yeah, lots of fun stuff, lots of cool stuff. We are here sharing what we know, trying to help you guys out, and want to continue to do so. So please send us your questions, your comments, interact with us at all the social media sites. We'd love to hear from you. And we do appreciate all your support when you get a reading or buy from our shop.
Right, definitely.
All right, you guys. So that is it for us this go round. And let's see, we'll be back.
So that's all on smelling shit, tasting shit, and feeling shit.
Exactly. So that was your Clairgustance, Clairalience, and Clairempathy. And we will be back next week as we talk about Clairsentience and maybe some Clairtangency.
Is that a tangerine? Does it involve tangerines? Do I need to go to the store and get a bundle of tangerines?
You do not, but they are good, and it would be really healthy. And it would kind of probably help boost up your chakras, especially
that orange one.
Yeah. You're safe, girl. You're so little. This. Light them up.
See, I know about them, but I just don't know where they are. I like it. Okay, the one's purple. There's a blue one. There's a yellow one. There's an orange one. A red one.
I have to make you review the clairs again, or the chakras again.
Oh, come on.
Chakra review.
It's the purple one.
So funny. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate you. We'll hope you'll join us. Witchy Talk Friday night, Rose?
Oh, I wanted to steal your line. Stay magical. Yes, please. We can do it on Friday.
You steal my line.
I do.
Love, light, and magic. Stay magical.
Love your light. Love your shadow. Stay magical.
There you go. All right, we're signing off, you guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.